Welcome to About Mansfield, your audio newspaper. I'm Steve Casillo with the July 19th, 2023 182nd edition, always broadcasting from the Cellmark Studios along with Colleen Daniel and the About Mansfield news team. Coming up, it's Mansfield News and Talk.
And a little later in the episode, you will have a chance to win a $25 gift card to a Mansfield restaurant of your choice with our Mansfield Trivia Question, courtesy of Joe Jenkins Farmers Insurance.
In lieu of an interview segment this week, we will be presenting extended coverage of the trial of accused Timberview shooting defendant Timothy Simpkins. The coverage starts in about 2 minutes. Let's take a look at the stories we're covering this week.
Mansfield police officers reel in drug-carrying shoplifters.
City offers some relief for those looking to beat the heat.
Online seller shoots at robbery suspects during a meetup.
And the Mansfield Philharmonic is looking for a few good players. This portion of the news is brought to you by the Grandview Event Center. We are Mansfield's only source for news, talk, and information. We'll be back in 30 seconds with coverage of the accused Timberview shooter trial. This is About Mansfield. Are you ready to create unforgettable memories? Picture this. An enchanted event venue nestled amidst breathtaking landscapes with panoramic views. Right here in Mansfield, the Grandview Event Center is the perfect setting to bring your vision to life. From intimate gatherings to large-scale extravaganzas, we have flexible spaces to accommodate any occasion. Be it a wedding reception, holiday party, or a quinceañera, book your next unforgettable experience at thegrandviewmansfield.com. That's thegrandviewmansfield.com. The Grandview Event Center, where memories are made and dreams become reality. Book your event today.
Hi, I'm Mansfield ISD Chief of Police, Greg Minter, and you're listening to About Mansfield.
Welcome back to About Mansfield. Prosecuting attorneys started calling witnesses on Monday. That would be day one of the trial of the accused Timberview High School shooter. 19-year-old Timothy Simpkins is facing 3 counts of attempted murder, 3 counts of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, and 1 count of unlawful carrying of a weapon in a prohibited place. In connection with the shooting on October 6th, 2021 at the high school, Simpkins was indicted by a Tarrant County grand jury back in February of 2022, and if convicted, Simpkins could face up to life in prison. What started out as a fistfight almost turned deadly on that October morning at Timberview High School. The fight broke out around 9:45 in the morning in English teacher Parissa Altman's classroom. According to eyewitness accounts, student Zacchaeus, or Zach Selby, was tardy for class. He entered the classroom upon being let in by teacher Altman, where he immediately approached the defendant, Simpkins. And that's when the fight ensued. Teacher Miss Altman took the witness stand on Monday morning and broke down crying as she recalled pushing the panic button, yet no one at the other end of the intercom system could hear her help for cry. After the fight broke out, teacher and track coach Dean Boyd heard the commotion from his classroom a couple of doors down the hall.
When I entered the classroom, I saw the 2 students were fighting, or one student was fighting the other student, and we separated the students. Mrs. Herrera and I. Herrera took Selby, I took Simpkins, and we separated them, pulled them to the side. With Simpkins, he was on the floor, so he was being stomped on the floor. And when I pulled him off the floor, I just stepped in front of him and kind of moved him to the side to make sure that there was no further confrontation. At some point, when I separated them, I saw Simpkins reach for his waistband, and he pulls a gun out. And I said, "He has a gun, run."
English teacher Calvin Pettit gives his recollection.
When I walked into the room, I noticed Coach Herrera had Mr. Selby up against the wall on the right-hand side, farthest in the classroom. I noticed that Mr. Simpkins hadn't been gathered, I don't know what word to use there, but we're supposed to restrain all parties. So when I saw that Mr. Selby had already been restrained, my first action was I started walking towards Mr. Simpkins just to make sure that there wouldn't be any retaliation while Mr. Selby was restrained. As I got about 10 to 15 feet approximately into the classroom, I noticed Mr. Simpkins start walking to my left. he reached down into a bag and produced a firearm.
You think he pulled it from the back?
I do believe that.
Okay. Did you ever see Coach Boyd in there?
I saw him out of my peripheral on the left side.
So you saw him reach in the bag, and what did he come out with?
He pulled out some sort of handgun.
So what did you do?
I froze for a moment, and I was fixated on the gun. I then heard Mr. Boyd to my left say gun, and it kind of clicked in my head that there was in fact a gun. And Mr. Boyd started saying no a couple times, and it seemed like in panic. And once he started stating no, I began to retreat backwards, still facing the window, facing the inside of the classroom, and turned around and ran after a couple steps backwards.
Then what happened?
At that point, I fell on the ground, right on the doorway of Miss Altman's room. Once I had enough strength to get back up, I ended up making my way, if you're facing out of Miss Altman's room, directly to the next room to the left, and going to Miss Hernandez's room for cover.
That won't stop you. Why'd you fall down?
At the time, I wasn't sure. But once I got into Miss Hernandez's room, I leaned against the wall and felt an immense amount of pressure on my back. And so I put my hand behind my back, and when I produced my hand, it was covered in blood.
So you fell down because you got shot?
Yes, sir.
And you were shot in your back?
Yes, sir.
You feel lucky?
Very. When I was shot in my left shoulder. It broke my scapula, penetrated through my back ribs, went into my lung, and lodged itself 1 millimeter, what I'm told is the width of a dime, above my aortic valve, which is a piece of your heart that pumps blood. So if that bullet would have hit that aortic valve, I very well might not be sitting here today.
Is it still there, or were they able to remove it?
No, sir, I have no exit wound. It's still in my chest.
Day 2 of prosecution witnesses included the then boyfriend of the defendant's sister, who lived in the apartment where the defendant's gun was found. Officers with the Arlington Crime Scene Unit, the Medical Examiner's Office, and forensic labs also gave testimony. Then the testimony turned back to eyewitness accounts, including teacher and girls basketball coach Jeremy Walker, who found himself sheltered in place in a classroom and expressed his feeling of helplessness.
I was supposed to be in basketball and I couldn't tell my girls. And so in the gym, you don't always hear announcements because we're practicing. And then for all I knew was a school shooting. So I couldn't tell them. And then I had left my phone on my desk in the classroom, so I couldn't call them. So now I was trying to sit there and try to figure out how to tell the girls, but I couldn't.
Shania was a student in the classroom where the fight broke out and gave her recollection of the day.
So I'm in the front of the classroom, and I heard a knock on the door, and the teacher went to go open the door, and it was Zach. And then when she opened the door, they were talking for a little minute, and then Zach burst in, and the fight just started.
And then the fight started. Is that what you said?
He burst in, and then the fight just started.
Okay. Did you ever see a weapon?
Yes, ma'am.
Who had the weapon?
Timothy.
Okay, tell me about that.
So at this point, I'm out the classroom, and then the fight stopped, and then Timothy pulled out a gun, and then I just ran. I don't know what happened after that. I just ran.
When you got to the end of that hallway, did you feel anything?
Yes, ma'am. So when I was running, I felt a quick shot. It was really fast. It was just a really fast burn. And then that's when I stopped. But a teacher kept telling me, like, we gotta go, we have to go.
Did you find out later why you had a sharp pain?
I assumed that I didn't know what it was in the moment.
But later, did you find out what it was?
Yes, ma'am.
What was it?
I was grazed by the bullet.
Okay. Now, after this happened, did you go back to that school?
No, ma'am.
Did you have to switch schools?
I wanted to switch schools.
Detective Sean Wheatley works for the Violent Crime Division for the Arlington Police Department. He was the primary detective on the case and fields the defense attorney's questions about the position on the floor the defendant maintained during the fight in the classroom.
From viewing the tape of the video, the fight, would you agree that the fight looked one-sided?
Yes, it appeared that way.
And it appeared that at one point Tim was in a fetal position.
Yes.
Is that a position of surrender?
Yes.
And in that position of surrender, he's still getting hit about the head and stomped by Zacchaeus Shelby.
Yes, ma'am.
State redirect.
Yes, sir, if I may.
Okay.
When the defendant left, where did he put his gun?
In his waistband.
Defense counsel asked you a question about the fetal position the defendant was in that you saw in the video. What was he doing?
I believe he's trying to maintain control of the gun that was in his waistband.
And he's huddled over, holding on to like his stomach area.
Yes.
Where you put the gun in the left. All right?
Yes.
Defense counsel asked you what effect being hit or stomped would have on this defendant's brain. Recall that question?
Yes.
He brought this gun to school long before he ever got hit in the head.
Yes.
Dressed in a gray suit with his hair pulled back into a ponytail, Simpkins sat quietly in the courtroom listening to prosecution witnesses. The prosecution rested their case just before noon on Tuesday, which was also approaching this podcast's deadline. We will continue to follow the case and bring you updates as needed on our Facebook page. In the meantime, we're going to take a short commercial break and continue with this week's news. This portion of the news was brought to you by the Grandview Event Center. This is About Mansfield.
Hi, this is Paul Duncan with Trinity Roofing and Construction. There are over 7,500 roofers in the North Texas area, and when a major hailstorm blows through town, that number skyrockets with companies as far away as Montana. In the planning stages of re-roofing your home, it's normal for customers to ask questions such as, where are they based out of and how many years experience do they have roofing in North Texas? Trinity Roofing and Construction can answer each of these questions with confidence. As a family-owned, Mansfield-based business since 2011, Trinity Roofing and Construction recently received a Product Excellence Award by Owens Corning and are a Platinum Preferred Contractor with Owens Corning. Contact us today for a free, no-obligation video roof inspection. Rated A+ with the Better Business Bureau, Trinity Roofing and Construction. A Mansfield company, not only replacing roofs, but building relationships. Find us on the web at trinityroofingconstruction.com. That's trinityroofingconstruction.com.
No matter your familiarity with buying or selling real estate, having an experienced, trusted advisor on speed dial is priceless. The Roger and Beth team of Century 21 Judge Fight is here to be that resource for you. Whether you're buying right here in Mansfield or your dreams are taking you elsewhere, we are ready to help you with turning that vision into a reality. To learn more, visit our website at homesinmansfield.com. That's homesinmansfield.com.
Hi, this is Mansfield ISD Superintendent Dr. Kimberly Cantu, and you're listening to About Mansfield.
Welcome back to About Mansfield.
Over the weekend, Mansfield police officers responded to a shoplifting in progress call at a retail store in the 1800 block of North 287 Frontage Road. Dispatch received a good description of the suspect vehicle as well as the property stolen from the location. As officers Lynch and Santana were approaching the store, they observed the suspect vehicle leaving the parking lot. Once the vehicle was stopped, both officers observed several of the stolen items in the back seat of the car. During the course of the investigation, the officers recovered several stolen items totaling over $2,000. Officers also seized a firearm and 41 grams of narcotics, which tested positive for fentanyl. All three of the occupants were from the Dallas area and were placed under arrest for confirmed warrants and theft of property. Individual charges included unlawful carry weapon, manufacture or delivery of substance, and fail to identify giving false or fictitious information.
If you happen to find these hot summer days a bit unbearable, the City of Mansfield will host its official cooling center at the Mansfield Activity Center through Thursday, July 20th. Due to forecasted extended high temperatures, Thursday could reach a high of 104, tapering off through the weekend, but we'll be back in the triple digits again starting Tuesday of next week. The MAC will provide additional seating at 106 South Wisteria Street for those seeking to escape the heat in an air-conditioned facility. While the MAC serves as the city's official cooling center, other city facilities such as the Mansfield Public Library and City Hall they're both air-conditioned and open to the public during normal operating hours.
A shooting happened during a robbery at a meetup for an online sale at a home in Mansfield on Wednesday night. No injuries were reported in the incident, which happened around 10:15 p.m. on June 12th near Sabine Trail and Newt Patterson Road, just east of Highway 287. Police said the victim had listed an item for sale online and the buyer went to the home to pick it up. As the victim met with the buyer, 3 people jumped out of the buyer's vehicle and pointed weapons at the victim, demanding the item. A family member of the victim stepped outside, and the victim gave the suspects the item. As the suspects left, the victim fired a gun at the suspect's vehicle. Police did not say if the gunshot struck the suspect's vehicle. No more details have been released. Mansfield Police recommends the following tips when buying or selling online. Only conduct transactions with local buyers and sellers. Insist on meeting in a public place. Take your cell phone with you. Tell a friend or family member about your intentions. Complete transactions during daylight hours. Be extra cautious in buying or selling valuable items. And finally, trust your instincts.
Attention all orchestral musicians. If you are looking for a new orchestra to play in, this could be your chance. The Mansfield Philharmonic will be holding auditions at First Methodist Mansfield Church on Sunday, July 30th from 1 to 2:45 p.m., giving you the opportunity to make music with a wonderful group of talented, all-volunteer musicians. The auditions are open to all instrumentalists. After submitting an online audition request form, you will receive an email closer to the date with a time for your audition. At the audition, you will need to perform any 2 scales and a solo that demonstrates your highest playing ability. The solo must be at least 3 minutes long. To access the audition request form, we have a link on our website, aboutmansfield.com. Just click on the links tab. The Philharmonic season runs October through March with free concerts at First Methodist Mansfield. If you have a comment about the show, the news, whatever's on your mind locally, the good, the bad, the ugly, what's on your mind, you can reach us by voicemail at 817-435-2938. Again, that's 817-435-2938. Saturday, July 22nd is National Day of the Cowboy, a day that recognizes the stoic, hardworking symbol of the American West. The era of the cowboy began after the Civil War right here in the heart of Texas. Cattle were herded long before this time, but in Texas they grew wild and unchecked. As the country expanded, the demand for beef in the northern territories and the other states increased. With nearly 5 million head of cattle right here in Texas, cowboys moved the herds on long drives to where the profits were. Where the Dust Settles reveals much of the truth of the American cowboy and cowgirl. The life of a cowboy required a particular ability to live in the frontier world. To do so requires respect, loyalty, and a willingness to work hard. In the words of former President George W. Bush, we celebrate the cowboy as a symbol of the grand history of the American West. The cowboy's love of this land and love of the country are examples for all Americans. So how do we recognize National Day of the Cowboy this Saturday? Go to the Mansfield Public Library and check out a Western novel. Louis L'Amour is a great place to start. Or perhaps watch a movie like True Grit. Attend a rodeo. Fort Worth is a great place to start. How about a vacation at a dude ranch in Bandera? Or simply embrace the cowboy way of life. Currently, 14 states recognize National Day of the Cowboy. The first celebration was back in 2005.
Coming up after the break, we turn the page to the features section.
'Tis the season for flipping burgers in the backyard. I'm Angel Biasatti, and today we're talking about summer safety tips. in Methodist Mansfield News to Know.
It's time for our mid-year real estate market update and forecast. I'm Beth Steinke. Please join me as I share information about where we are and where we are going today on the Mansfield Real Estate Report.
In this week's Cocktail of the Week, I'll be talking about a cocktail that will have you thinking that you too could be the most interesting man alive.
We are Mansfield's only source for news, talk, and information. I'm Colleen Daniel, and this is About Mansfield.
The housing market is evolving as interest rates rise to meet inflation. Speculation abounds as to what the future may hold. Do you have a trusted advisor? The Roger and Beth team at Century 21 Judge Fight should be your first call in all matters concerning real estate and the market. We specialize in residential real estate for both buyers and sellers. With industry partners across North America, our resources and expertise can turn the home you've been envisioning into a reality. Visit our website at homesinmansfield.com to learn more. That's homesinmansfield.com.
I'm Philip Washington, Chief Investment Officer of Stonehill Wealth Management and host of the Wealth Building Made Simple podcast. First book I read in college was Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and it changed my life. And since then, I've read tons and tons of books on money. And what I've done is taken those lessons, simplified them, and I talk about those lessons on my podcast, Wealth Building Made Simple. So come hang out with us. We're on every major platform, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and on YouTube, Wealth Building Made Simple.
Congratulations to Matthew Riley, who was the first person to correctly answer our last Mansfield Trivia Question. What is the name of the U.S. Congressman who is buried at the Mansfield Cemetery, and in what year did he die? Matthew knew it was U.S. Congressman Oscar William Gillespie. Born in 1858, Gillespie graduated from Mansfield College in 1885, earned a law degree, and served 3 terms in Congress from 1903 to 1911. Gillespie resumed the practice of law until his death in 1927 at the age of 69. Matthew has won 2 $25 restaurant gift cards. When we come back, this week's trivia question. This is About Mansfield.
At Methodist Mansfield Medical Center, we've been caring for our home team for over 15 years. Today, you'll find award-winning physicians on the medical staff, advanced neurosurgery, a level 3 trauma center, critical care for newborns, and comprehensive orthopedic care. Methodist Mansfield, delivering the care our friends, neighbors, and home team depend on. That's community, and why so many people trust Methodist.
Hey, it's Steve Casillo. I want to take a second to tell you about Podcast Mansfield Recording Studio 3.0. It's where we record and produce the About Mansfield podcast episodes. What started out as an audio-only studio, Podcast Mansfield is now a full-service audio and video recording studio, complete with custom green screen backgrounds, 2 high-definition cameras, editing, mixing, and mastering capabilities, and we can also help market your podcast. Podcast Mansfield is home to such great locally produced shows, such as Wealth Building Made Simple, We Are TPM, and Wealth Think Tank Television, just to name a few. So whether you're a hands-on person or just need a place to record your podcast or need advice from concept to completion, Podcast Mansfield is here to help. Conveniently located on Heritage Parkway, just off of 287 right here in Mansfield, mention the About Mansfield podcast and you get to record your first episode at no charge. For more information on starting your podcast, or if you're looking for a better place to record, Podcast Mansfield Recording Studio can be found on the internet at podcastmansfield.com.
Hi, this is Joe Jenkins with Joe Jenkins Farmers Insurance, specializing in auto, home, commercial, and life insurance. I was born and raised here in Mansfield, Texas. We're active in the community, and Mansfield's a town we really care about. Our office has over 30 years experience in the insurance industry, and we're passionate about what we do and about customer service. For a free quote, please visit our website at joejenkinsinsurance.com or give us a call at 817-472-6058. Once again, that website is joejenkinsinsurance.com.
It is time right now, this very second, right here, right now, for the highly coveted, wildly popular About Mansfield Trivia Question. If you are the first person to email the correct answer to trivia@aboutmansfield.com, you will receive a $25 gift card to a Mansfield restaurant of your choice. It's brought to you by Joe Jenkins Insurance. Whether you're looking for homeowners, auto, commercial, or any other type of insurance, Joe has helped Mansfield area residents understand the insurance coverage that best fit their needs since 2010. You can find him on the internet at joejenkinsinsurance.com. Let's get to this week's question, Colleen.
Well, Steve, if you've ever traveled on North Street in historic Mansfield between Oak Street and Newt Patterson, you can't miss the railroad trestle as you look to the west while crossing the tracks. The trestle, which prevents Union Pacific trains from plummeting into the murky depths of Walnut Creek, is one of the oldest operating trestles in the state and one of the most visited sites of interest in Mansfield. This week's trivia question is, in what year was the railroad trestle built? Email your answer to trivia@aboutmansfield.com. Again, what year was the railroad trestle near North Street built? Good luck, and thanks to Joe Jenkins Insurance for the gift card.
Hi, I'm Michelle Newsom, Mansfield School Board Trustee, and you're listening to About Mansfield.
Welcome back to About Mansfield, your audio newspaper. Let's open up the features section. Angel Biasatti is here with summer burn prevention tips in today's Methodist Mansfield News to Know. Angel?
Backyard barbecues, swimming in the lake, family reunions. They're all our favorites in the summertime. However, a barbecue can turn dangerous if you're not paying attention, and you might find yourself in the emergency room. Burns are a big concern when grilling, especially on the fingers, the palm, and your face. Dr. Gary Alexander, Medical Director of Trauma Services, offers these tips. Burns always need to be evaluated because the extent of the injury isn't always known immediately. When it's time to fire up a charcoal grill, add lighter fluid slowly and lean away from the grill to prevent flash burns. Consider wearing welding gloves to protect your hands. Also, remember to keep an eye on the children and remind them not to play too close to the grill, even when you're finished cooking. Backyard cooks should also wear closed-toed shoes in case food or utensils fall from the grill. Also, shoes can help keep the soles of the feet from burning on hot pavement. If you do get burned, place cool towels around the burn, which can provide some fast relief while you make your way to the emergency room. When you're at the lake, always remember to wear a life vest and keep your distance from the boat's propellers. Drink plenty of water and don't overindulge in alcohol, a leading cause of boating accidents. Dr. Alexander also suggests you have at least one other person with you when boating, fishing, or swimming to stay as safe as possible this summer. With Methodist Mansfield News to Know, I'm Angel Biasatti, reporting for the About Mansfield podcast.
Realtor Beth Steinke is here with her mid-year recap and forecast in the Mansfield Real Estate Market update. Beth?
I don't think it's any secret that there is confusion in the real estate market, and especially if you're listening to what the media is telling you. Without a doubt, we are in a very complex real estate market, and there are many financial and demographic dynamics pulling and pushing on that market. My goal today is to give you information so you can be confident in your decision making over the next 6, 12, and 18 months. First, we are hearing news about home price drops nationwide. The Wall Street Journal reports this April was the first time home prices have dropped in 11 years. 11 years. That means if you are a homeowner and you've been in your home for 3, 5, 8 years or more, your equity has significantly increased since you purchased your home. But prices have leveled off and maybe dipped just a little bit nationwide. But it's not shocking to imagine that a home seller that didn't get their home sold by July of 2022, when homes were at their historical highest point, might feel like they missed out. Talk about missing the big picture. 11 years of nearly double-digit equity increases, especially here in Mansfield, is not missing out. But we do have to price for this market, not the market that we remember last year. Have you had your friends telling you not to buy a house right now because they know the market is going to crash and all the foreclosures are coming? Well, I'm here to firmly tell you that that is not going to happen. Here's why. The Wall Street Journal reports U.S. home equity hit the highest level on record. U.S. homeowners have $27.8 trillion of home equity. We know statistically that 39% of homeowners own their home free and clear. You cannot be foreclosed on if there's no mortgage. Next, 29% of homeowners have more than 50% equity. That means that 68% of all homes in the marketplace have 50 to 100% equity. That's huge. And further means that we are not going to see a wholesale foreclosure crisis like we saw in 2008. That was a completely different financial scenario. And so for those people saying, I am going to wait until the market crashes, you're going to be faced with rising, not falling home prices. How can I be so sure about that? Beside the fact that this is my career, I study the market, I look for trends, and I follow market stats. Demand is still very high to purchase homes, even though rates have increased. You may not be aware, but there are over 3 million U.S. households that make over $150,000 each year that are still renting. Those are home buyers poised and ready to enter the home buying market. Dave Stevens, an expert in the mortgage and real estate industry, predicts that rates will begin to come down by the end of this year and will drop even farther next year. Inflation is reported at the mid-3 range now, and that's very close to the 2% the Federal Reserve is targeting. When this happens and interest rates decline, all that pent-up demand in the housing market will be unleashed. Will it happen later this year or early next? The answer is yes, both and. Right now, we are seeing the most calm home buying season we've seen in years. Buyers have choice, ability to negotiate, and the ability to purchase the right home for them at the right price. That opportunity evaporates when the crush of buyers re-enter the market, and the sellers who have been making their current home work for now will finally pull the trigger to sell and buy a new home that works better for their family. Dave further suggests that we are standing on the precipice of the largest wave of home buying we have ever seen in U.S. history. The millennials, the largest generation by far, is now entering the home buying years. And if you don't think that will impact the home buying market, you are in for a shock and surprise. Transactions across the U.S. have dipped. The last few years, we've seen more than 5 million home sales annually, and last year that dipped down to 4.2 million. Again, this speaks to that pent-up demand I mentioned. People haven't stopped wanting to move, they've just postponed it. My advice: stop trying to time the real estate market. That rarely has a noticeable return versus making the move at the time that's ideal for your family. All major banks and mortgage experts believe rates will start to drop very soon, opening opportunity for refinancing purchases made with these current higher rates. We have tools that can reduce the stress around making a move into a higher interest rate environment. It's time to put a plan together now so you can be poised and ready to put your family in the home they need to be for the years to come. Now let's get to this week's Mansfield Market Update. As of July 17th, there are 120 active and available homes in Mansfield, excluding new construction. 10 of those homes are priced over $900,000, with 5 of them over $1 million. Home prices range from about $200,000 to $1.8 million currently. June numbers are in. The median home price in Mansfield has increased 7% between June of 2022 to June of 2023. That home price distribution indicates that 40% of homes sold were between $500,000 and $750,000. Active listings are up 17% over last year, and that indicates that there are more options for buyers today than there were a year ago. But closed sales are down, and homes are taking a little longer on the market. Days on market currently is about 75, with about 27 days to close, averaging about 102 days on market for new listings. Do you have a real estate question I can answer? Send me a message via email to info@aboutmansfield.com. For the About Mansfield podcast, I'm Beth Steinke with Century 21 Judge Fight.
Shaken or stirred, either way, you know it's going to be good, as Brian Certain serves up a spicy concoction in the cocktail of the week. Brian.
This week's cocktail of the week is the spicy blackberry margarita. Several weeks ago, I started this series on cocktails that I found on TikTok. And this week's cocktail is from @Allie's in the Kitchen on TikTok. This week's cocktail, the spicy blackberry margarita. A tantalizing concoction that merges the vibrancy of blackberries with a fiery kick of jalapenos. Picture this. You're sitting in a sun-drenched cantina. The air is filled with laughter and the clinking of glasses. And as the most interesting man alive, I've had the pleasure of indulging in the finest libations across the globe. And let me tell you, this spicy margarita is a drink that leaves a lasting impression. But first, we start with the foundation of any great margarita, the gift from the gods, tequila. Not just any tequila, mind you, but a smooth, aged tequila that has been kissed by the sun in the highlands of Jalisco. Its golden hue hints at the depths of flavor that await. And as I pour it into the shaker, the tequila whispers the secrets of its agave origins, promising a taste adventure like no other. Next, we're going to add a fresh, generous splash of lime juice. The tangy citrus dances across the tongue, refreshing and invigorating it. And it's the perfect partner to the blackberries, which I will introduce shortly. But the combination of the tart lime and the sweet blackberries creates a symphony of flavors that will make your taste buds sing. Now, for the stars of the show, the fresh blackberries. These plump jewels burst with the very essence of summer. Their deep purple hue invokes images of twilight skies. I gently muddle them in the shaker, releasing their aromatic juices and allowing their sweetness to infuse every last sip. These blackberries lend their own unique character to the margarita, creating a harmonious blend of fruit notes. But wait, I'm not done. We're going to add a fiery twist. We take a couple of slices of jalapenos and drop them into the mix. The jalapenos bring a hint of heat, a touch of adventure to this already extraordinary libation. Their spicy essence intertwines with the other ingredients, elevating this drink to new heights. And this is not our margarita for the faint of heart. It's a drink that demands attention and rewards the bold. As a final touch, I turn my attention to the rim of the glass. A tan coating of salt and spices cling to the edge, creating a perfect balance of savory and zesty. And with every sip, your lips encounter this exquisite fusion, enhancing the overall experience and leaving you yearning for more. But as you're leaning in, don't worry about taking notes, as I'll be posting all the ingredients and instructions and posting them on your favorite website, bourbongospel.com. So for today, you need 2 ounces of tequila. You need 1 ounce of lime juice. I use fresh, but if you insist on not having any available, I guess a bottled lime juice will work as well. You'll need a small handful of blackberries, probably 6 to 8 berries. You'll need 1.5 tablespoons of agave. 1 tablespoon will go into the cocktail. The rest you will use to rim the glass. And jalapenos. This step is optional, but only to the faint of heart. I highly encourage you to include this step. To make it spicy, add 3 to 5 slices of jalapenos, depending on how spicy you like it. And then tahini or the chili lime powder to rim the glass. The instructions: dip the glass in the agave and then into the tahini or the chili lime powder, and place the glass in the freezer while you're making this magical margarita. If you want to avoid the agave dripping down the sides of your glass, place a cup upside down on a plate while it freezes. Personally, I don't mind a few drips. Next, you're going to muddle the blackberries, the jalapenos, the lime juice, and the agave, and put that into a cocktail shaker. Muddle as you strain it all to get all that sweet blackberry juice into the shaker. Leave the muddled blackberry mixture in the strainer and pour tequila through the strainer into the cocktail shaker. You can either discard the muddled mixture or put it into ice cube molds for a later date. I typically just discard them, though, because I don't like the pulp. Next, you're going to add ice to the cocktail shaker. You're going to then shake, strain, and pour over ice into a frosted glass. Garnish with fresh blackberries and a jalapeno slice. And there you have it, the spicy blackberry margarita, a tantalizing blend of aged tequila, fresh lime juice, a handful of summer's luscious blackberries, and a couple of slices of jalapenos. This drink is a testament to my adventurous spirit and a reminder to embrace the unexpected and a celebration of the finer things in life. So, my friends, the next time you find yourself craving a taste sensation like no other, venture forth and seek out the spicy blackberry margarita. Take a sip and let its bold flavors transport you to faraway lands where the sun shines bright and the night is always alive with possibilities. Remember, life is too short to settle for an ordinary drink. Embrace the extraordinary and toast to the remarkable moments that await. Stay frosty, my friends. Reporting for the About Mansfield podcast, I'm Brian Certain.
Thank you, Brian. Obviously, we changed up our format a little bit this week. Again, we have continuing coverage of the Timothy Simpkins trial on our About Mansfield Facebook page. You can find a link to that page on our website under the Links tab. Coming up next week on About Mansfield, we are back in studio with another fine Mansfield resident. You'll just have to tune in to find out who it is. And as always, this is the place where you'll hear the latest Mansfield news, sports, and conversation. Until then, don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, share, love, support this podcast if you haven't already so you never miss an episode. It's free and it's easy. Head on over to our website, aboutmansfield.com. Right there on the homepage, enter your email address. Bam! We let you know when a new episode comes out. We never send you any spam. We promise.
About Mansfield is recorded at Podcast Mansfield Recording Studio. Hosts Steve Casillo and Colleen Daniel. Moment with the Mayor feature, Michael Evans. Methodist Mansfield News to Know, Angel Biasatti. Mansfield Real Estate Market Update, Beth Steinke. Cocktail of the Week, Brian Certain. Post-production editing, mixing, and mastering, Steve Casillo.
This podcast is copyrighted by Podcast Mansfield Recording Studio for the private use of our audience. Any other use of this podcast without written consent is prohibited. We thank you all for listening. On behalf of the entire news team, I'm Steve Casillo, and this is About Mansfield.